Dragon Slayer is the SNS 40 Freespin coaster at Adventureland in Iowa, and it is the best ride of its kind in the United States. While this is one of the smaller Freespin layouts, this one flips far more than the larger installations. If you like out-of-control rides, this is for you, and I will explain why in this review. In 1990, Adventureland opened Dragon. This was a Hopkins steel coaster. This was notable for being the first coaster in the state of Iowa with inversions, as the ride featured back-to-back vertical loops. In its final years, the ride had developed a reputation as a rough ride. I rode it back in 2019, and I enjoyed most of it. The vertical loops were forceful, and the main layout was smooth. However, the pre-lift section was inexplicably shaky. The train vibrated so much that it felt like it would burst into pieces. In early 2020, Adventureland teased a new attraction. They showed a rotating picture of a knight slaying a dragon. Shortly thereafter, the park began dismantling Dragon and announced Dragon Slayer, an SNS Freespin. I liked how they tied the two rides together. This opened in 2021, and it established a few firsts for a Freespin. 1. This was the first Freespin built in the United States, not at a Six Flags park. This model had previously been added to 7 different Six Flags parks. 2. This was the first smaller version ever built. This is the exact version that would be cloned for Toonbeely at King's Dominion in 2022. Dragon Slayer only used a fraction of the land previously used by Dragon. It was placed where Dragon's helixes once resided, which is wedged in between Tornado and a pond. This location is brilliant. You get this gorgeous shot of the ride overlooking the water, seeing the chaotic flips, and the ride really pops on a sunny day with its bright red track. While the ride itself is unthemed, the entrance is a castle archway bearing the ride's name. It looks really good. Once you pass underneath it, you have an important decision to make. Do you go left for the knight side, or right for the squire side? On most Freespins, it doesn't really matter which side you're assigned or choose, but it makes a huge difference on Dragon Slayer. You see, the knight side is the wild side, the squire side is the mild side, but let me be clear, even the mild side is wild. It is absolutely wilder than any other Freespin in the United States, and it's possible for the squire side to occasionally offer more flips than the knight side. But in general, the knight side tends to offer more flips. I was consistently getting 6 to 10 flips per ride. Most other Freespins in the US offer half that. Freespins generally have low throughputs, but Dragon Slayer is even worse than usual. Each train seats a max of 8 riders. The train has 2 cars. Each car holds 2 guests on each side of the track. 1 pair dispatches backwards, and 1 pair dispatches forwards. This one can only load 1 vehicle at a time. The older Freespins used to load 2 trains at once, but many are being reprogrammed to load just 1 at the manufacturer's request. But the biggest issue with Dragon Slayer is that it has just 2 trains total. On the bright side, you will not be parked in the brake run for as long as the versions that run 3 to 4 trains. However, if either train has an issue, this coaster is down to 1 train operation. That unfortunately happened during the second half of my day, killing the capacity. That is why it's prudent to head to Dragon Slayer early in the day. During the first hour of the day, this ride was just a 5-minute wait, and it allowed us to ride a few times in a row to get a good feel for the ride. But on busy days, this ride can easily build up a 30 to 45-minute wait by the afternoon. Alternatively, you can use the Speedy Pass Skip the Line system to bypass the queue. This is available on the all-day options, or as a pricey single shot. Once it's your turn to board, seating is on a first-come basis. If you depart the station going forwards, you start the main layout backwards, and vice versa. Both offer a similar quantity of flips, but the flips tend to occur at different points. I will get to that shortly. Like the other SNS Freespins, Riders are restrained by vest harnesses. They will be pushed down snugly by the operators, but I find them comfortable. And honestly, this is one ride where you probably want to be stapled anyway. They properly hold you in place without any pain, despite the ride's chaotic nature. Once dispatched, you are pulled vertically up a 112-foot or 34-meter tall lift hill. If you left the station backwards, you will now be facing forwards and you'll get a decent view towards the back of the park. But I prefer the view in the opposite direction. Those who are dispatched forwards are now facing backwards towards the front of the park, which offers a more impressive skyline. The view is better on the night side because your sight lines are not blocked by Dragon Slayer's structure. The ride experience I'm about to describe can vary for a wide range of factors: weight, rider position, and wind, just to name a few. In general, I found the experience more consistent on the night side and more volatile on the Squire side. Once at the top, you have a small dip. There are magnetic fins here to accentuate your spin. If you're facing forwards at this point, you'll be flung forward so you're staring at the ground. This sets up the following bunny hill perfectly, as I would often get rapid flips chained together. On the night side, I was consistently getting 4 to 5 flips in a row here. It was amazing. When you start facing backwards, you'll usually invert on the initial drop. Then you may get another full flip, but I was more regularly stalling out at a few points, which is still quite the thrill. This leads to a Raven turn. These don't seem to be trimmed in the larger installations, but they are in the smaller versions. This was a bigger issue for me with Toonbeely, because that ride in general flipped far less. On Dragon Slayer, this would usually put a halt to the full flipping for me, but I often would stall out here at least. This leads to another bunny hill. You may flip here, but I usually wouldn't. This sets up the wildest part of the ride, the second Raven turn. If you're facing forwards at this point in the night side, I was often getting 4 to 5 flips rapid fire succession. It was glorious, especially with the downward acceleration occurring simultaneously. It was easily the wildest moment I've ever experienced on any free spin. The other night car would usually offer 1 or 2 flips for me here. On the Squire side, it was seemingly random what would transpire. You then jump upwards, hitting some brakes. The cars facing forwards at this point will usually get another 2 to 3 quick flips. The backwards cars usually stall here at best. You then have one last Raven turn that slowly lowers you back down to the station. This ends the 770-foot or 235-meter long coaster. This is a super short ride. Drop to brakes takes roughly 17 seconds. Few major coasters are shorter. I personally would have no problem if the experience were longer, but I could see the experience being too much for many if it were to continue. This is a super disorienting and dizzying experience. The other free spins in North America flip at a slower, more infrequent rate. On those ones, you also need to throw your weight into the flips to maximize the experience. That is not necessary on Dragon Slayer. The magnetic fins are brilliantly placed to maximize your inversions. The only free spin offering more flips is Arashi at Nagashima Spa Land. That one offers a larger quantity of flips, but no free spin can chain 4 to 5 rapid flips together as consistently as Dragon Slayer can. It feels like you are uncontrollably cannonballing when this occurs. The final thing I want to note is that this coaster is extremely smooth. That has not been an issue with any of the free spins. While some of the flips may wildly toss your body, but that is not due to poor tracking. So what would I rate Dragon Slayer? I would give this coaster an 8 out of 10. This ride is absolute mayhem, and I mean that as a compliment. While this coaster is over in the blink of an eye, it is a disorienting blur of flips. I absolutely love when this ride chains 4 or 5 of them in a row. Few rides can match that inversion pattern. This is easily the best free spin in North America. It has an intensity the others cannot match, and is a genuinely great ride. So those are my thoughts on Dragon Slayer at Adventureland. What are your thoughts on this coaster? Do you agree it's the country's best free spin? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I would appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you consider subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.